evening, all you nightmare hunters out there in Nightmare Land. Welcome to another edition of the Nightmare Hunters podcast, and we are damn glad to have you all with us. We are 92 away from 10,000. 92. Let's see if we can push that, get that hit. We are close enough to smell it. Hopefully we can break that. I really would love to see us break that before the convention in October. The one in about 2 weeks. That's actually 2 weeks from this Friday. But I would love to hit it before that. We've got some giveaways planned. We've got some awesome stuff planned. And we got a great show for you tonight. Me and Rabid Jed Rains are going to do our best to keep you all entertained. I don't know if we'll have a doc sighting, but I haven't heard from Steve. I think Steve ended up having to work, but haven't heard anything from him. Steve works a lot, especially since him and his wife started their own business. So when he's not working at the hospital, he's working with that. So Steve and free time are only casually acquainted. So we kind of bear with Steve. We know he's a busy man. But if you're in the Springfield area and you'd like a hell of a glass of boba tea, I'm not really into boba. I don't like that little bubbles coming up my straw. But they do make a great green tea. But if you're into boba or any kind of teas or flavored coffees, go check them out. Green Dragon Boba? Green
Yes.
Dragon Boba. Yeah, it's here in Springfield. Just Google it, and it'll take you right to it. But we already got a heck of a crowd tonight, over 100 people, and we're like 2 minutes in. I mean, holy moly. So thank you guys for jumping in with us. If you haven't had a chance to, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The algorithm is still showing that we're only about 40% of the people who watch the show are subscribed. So we would love to have you guys as part of the Nightmare Hunter Nation. And we certainly hope you guys would help us hit that 10K subscriber mark. So I'll quit flapping my gums for a minute, and I'm going to throw the question over to Robbie. Brother, how the hell are you? And how's that new book doing?
I'm doing good. Just finished up chapter 19 today. Little over 38,000 words, I think. Like 38.5 something, if I remember right. So I just sent an update out yesterday or the day before. So what I did today is past that. So yeah, it's moving on. I want to try to get it, roughly completed before we go to the conference, and then hopefully looking for around the 1st of November release for it. And I've already got pretty much the groundwork laid out for the book following that one. I think I'm gonna stay in the Grail series for a while until we get some other things, because I think there needs to be some other stuff before we do the other series that we talked about. So I think I'll stay with Grail for a little bit. Plus, I'm enjoying writing that. That's a fun series.
That's the way I feel when I write Cody and Wild Hunt. It's just fun to write.
Yeah, it's fun writing Rick overseas, kind of that fish out of water. It's been real fun. I've really enjoyed this one.
And it shows. I mean, you're really kind of hitting your stride, brother. You're kicking butt and taking names, and I'm really proud of the progress you've made. And I'm very impressed, dude. I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke up your kilt, as Doc could say. I'm impressed with the progress you've made, because you've blossomed quickly. You're learning lessons early, and you keep giving me credit for that. And I'm just there to bounce questions off of. This is all you. This is your talent coming through. If I played a small part in that, I'm happy. But this is your talent coming through, and you
played more than a small part in it, believe me. Because I doubt, had you and I not met and become friends, I doubt I would have ever took that step and went out and wrote this stuff. It would have still just been rattling around up here, because there was a lot of room for it to rattle around.
Well, sometimes it just takes that right person to encourage you at the right moment. So if that was me, then I'm damn happy to have done it. But folks, if you haven't checked out Robbie's books, you really need to. You will not be disappointed. And there are more than just passing coincidences. There are strong connections between Robbie's verse and my verse. There may actually be one in the same. But you can check those out and check out Robbie's books, and yeah, you will not be disappointed. And for those of you that like to that either drive for a living like a trucker, or if you're if you listen to audiobooks while you work around the house, all of his books are available on audio. So check him out at amazon.com/author/Robbie Jed Rains.
Yep.
Tammy says, Garby, I'm halfway through book 4 and I love it. Absolutely. That is awesome.
Yeah. Book 4. Now that was another one that was kind of a real fun one to write, with going back in time and doing the 18th century Scotland. I really enjoyed that one. I've got some more ideas about some different things in that along that line too, though.
Paul Webb says, DA, any timeline of Wild Hunt? I am this close to finishing Dark Frontiers, Devil of the Absarokas. I just sent out stuff to the alpha readers last night. I'm getting a lot of really, both good and interesting responses. I left them on a cliffhanger. And I'm probably going to finish up what I've got planned, except the epilogue, later tonight, early in the morning sometime. So I'm hoping I'll be in edits before the weekend. And we've already kind of got the ball rolling cover wise. All I've got to do is get the edits done, get the final checks from the alpha readers, and then get final page count, and we'll be about ready to rock. And then as soon as that one's done, immediately on the heels, I'm starting Codename Wild Hunt Leviathan Down. It was going to be called Gray Lady Down, but then I did some digging and found out the Navy actually never used that term. So I changed it and made it up myself, and now it's going to be called Codename Wild Hunt Leviathan Down. And hopefully that one will be coming out in the next month or so. I'm really going to try to focus my attention to start cranking more books out, because Robbie's making me look bad. So I need to get my ass back to work and start I've got no excuse not to. I mean, I'm retired, so I was having some issues with pain distracting me from writing. And while it's far from gone, it's more under control right now. And I can focus, I can write, and I really want to pour it on as much as I can. I've got another collection of short stories in the works. I've got at least 6 more short stories. I've got the next Apex Predator already plotted and ready to go on the heels of Codename Wild Hunt. I'm introducing new characters. Robbie's already got a glimpse of them. I think those of you who are fans of the series are going to like these 2 new characters. They're a bit familiar, but they're still brand new characters. So I'll leave that little tantalizing tidbit hanging. And for those of you in the alpha readers, you'll find out in the next update. I like these 2 characters, and I think they're gonna stick around for a while.
Speaking of epilogue, are we still doing what you and I discussed in that epilogue with that conversation with those 2 certain characters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Although after the show, if you don't have to rush off to bed, we might revisit that conversation so I can make some notes, because I'm closing in on that.
Good, because if that conversation doesn't happen, I'm going to have to change some stuff.
C. Blanton says, so do you all do an outline before you write a book? I have a basic outline when I begin. I have a beginning, a middle, where I want the characters to the worst of the problem, and I have a solution. And then I throw the characters into it and let the characters drive the story, because it would be a disservice to just force the characters into the story that I want to tell and not let them be themselves. I mean, it would be almost criminal to not let Margolin be Margolin. And the same with the other characters, because they have such defined personalities. So I introduce the story, let the characters run with it, and how they react is how I throw the story. And we build from there on how the characters go. And sometimes I even make it to where I originally intended to, but not always. What about you, Robbie?
Well, when I first started, I pretty much flew by the seat of my pants. I mean, you know this. I just, I had a general idea of what I wanted, but I would kind of just like make it up as I went. And that was okay for book 1 and mostly book 2, because I really the most of that, or the meat of that, those two stories, and some of the third one were the general basis of the book that I had in my head the entire 20 plus years. So those three, it was okay to do that because I'd been thinking about that, but after that, I've really had to kind of back up and really start planning things out and thinking about things, especially with with DA and I now, interconnecting. I really have to be more deliberate about what I do. I can't just throw stuff on there and hope that everything works. If I was just doing my own stuff, but there's a lot of conversations he and I have to have about, okay, well, where are you going with this? Okay, is that going to affect this? How about this? Will this affect that? We have to be intentional and deliberate about what we do with certain characters, because there are certain characters that are going to fly back and forth. So there's things that have to be intentional. Like when you read, y'all get Devil of the Absarokas, there's a character that you might recognize from one of my books in there. So we had to have a conversation about, okay, nope, we got this covered. This is how we're going to do this.
This is how the shared universe works. Okay, we got this character, and this character. Can I kill this guy? No, I need him for this book. Okay, can I kill this guy? Yeah, kill him if you want to.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's the way the conversation goes back and forth. He'll say, what about this character? Can I kill him off? I'm like, yeah, I don't need him. Go and kill him. Roxanne wants to know when the next Apex Predator will be. If I can keep the pace up like I'm hoping, before Christmas, maybe even as early as November, depending on how quickly I get Codename Wild Hunt Leviathan done. And the way my brain's been running the past couple of days, plus drinking plenty of caffeine, staying heavily caffeinated is actually fuel for the writing process. So as long as I got coffee, I'll probably be good to go. I'm planning on increasing my amount of time spent on the computer from about 6 hours a day to about 10. So that's the plan. I'm going to try to change these up. I'm going to be working on new short stories, a new compilation of short stories. I've got at least 3 more novels planned that I'm going to try to have out by the end of the year. And by January 1, we'll announce a whole new lineup of books that are coming for 2026. So I'm hoping on the New Year's Eve show that both Robbie and I can sit here when we do the New Year's Eve show, and as the countdown toward New Year's toward midnight rolls around, what we'll do is we'll be talking about projects and the time frame we're wanting to release them. So for the New Year's Eve show, that's basically what we're going to talk about, the plans for 2026. Where we're going to be going on investigations, what books we're going to be working on, and the timeline in order to expect them. So we got a lot of big things coming. I'm really excited.
And that's going to, a lot of what we're going to do at the conference is where we can actually sit down together, because doing it here on this is okay, but actually physically being in the same room with each other when we can actually feed off each other's energy, we're going to be able to sit down and kind of, I don't know if storyboard's the right term for that, but for lack of a better term, we're going to storyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to be bringing a few notebooks, and when Robbie and I are not teaching classes or doing speaking engagements, we're going to be sitting at our tables. Well, Annette's basically runs the table. I just sign books and try not to look ugly. I know it's a tough call for me, but she's the one that handles all the business end, and I there sign books, talk to folks. She runs the table. So as long as we're not doing that, me and Robbie are going to be basically sitting there with pen and paper and making notes and plotting books out, and which characters we're going to kill and which characters who's going to kill and at what time frame and which book. Yeah. Because what we're building up for is a massive cross-series, multi-book finale where they deal with what's building up to be Die Ordnung von Totengeburt and the Ouroboros Society. If you guys read any of the books, those two are the two big bads. And it's going to basically come around to finding out what's behind it all. And when that all comes to an end, there's a couple of new series that are going to be appearing. I'm not ending any of the other series, so don't worry about that. I'm not killing off any of the series. I'm going to be introducing another series, which you guys have already got a taste of, in the last Codename Wild Hunt book. You got a taste of it. That was when no, it was only Codename Wild Hunt. It was in one of the Dark Frontiers. When Clark got hurt, and they took him up into space. That series is going to be called the Project Olympus, and that's going to be. It still ties into the universe, but it's going to be more off-world than it is. It's combination sci-fi. I think Star Trek meets Longmire, kind of. So more like classic Trek feel, like a space western. So that one's coming. We'll probably be planning on trying to drop a book in that. I've got another fantasy book that's coming out. That's going to be coming out hopefully by January, February, because it's already back on the back burner. I've got another one for my sci-fi series. This one's going to be called Gunfighter's Destiny, and it's about Duncan Kane. And then the other new series, and this is why I posted this for you, Miss Moon, is a continuation called Wastelands of Ragnarok. And hopefully I'll have the first book done by spring. I'm going to be a busy boy, but that's my plan, is to put 10 hours a day on the keyboard, unless I'm booked at a convention. And I'll still take a day off every once in a while. But other than the shows, if I'm awake, I'm going to be working on book stuff.
So there you
go. We got a lot of that coming too. I was really hoping Doc would be here tonight.
Yeah, he just texted. He said he's just now leaving the shop, so he's probably not going to make it.
Okay, I get it. Work comes first. I get it. Got to pay the bills, keep the lights on.
Yep.
So we probably won't have a Doc sighting tonight. Man, we have got a full house, well over 100 people.
Yep.
So, how far down this rabbit hole do you want to jump to right now?
Let's just see where we land.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is revisiting what we've already covered on a couple of shows. Y'all were aware that there were two elk hunters, Ian Stasko and Andrew Porter, who were found dead, elk hunters found dead in the mountains of Colorado, in southern Colorado. It took them about a week, but they finally announced that the cause of death was allegedly lightning. Okay, I can take that. Lightning does kill people in the United States. In fact, so far this year, 19 people have been struck by lightning in the United States, which is way up from even 3 years ago. So between now and the end of the year, God knows what the number will be. But this is the odd part. For someone to get struck in pairs is very rare. But just a little bit later, two guys and their dogs in Florida killed by lightning. That's halfway across the country. Strange coincidence. Okay, I can take that. I can take the two guys that were struck in Florida. I can take that. It's a coincidence. It's got to be, two's a coincidence. Three's different. Just about a week ago, another hunter in the same area in Colorado was struck and killed by lightning. What in the hell is going on? That's 5 people in 2 months dead by lightning, all hunters. The odds of that are like winning the lottery while juggling and riding a skateboard.
Yeah.
It's incredibly, the odds against it are just amazingly, staggeringly, blindingly big. So, what the hell's going on? Is lightning death the cover story for something now? Did they, I don't know. I mean, yes, it could just be simple fact that lightning got them all. Okay, I can accept that as a possibility. What I can't accept is the delays in finding out what happened to them, and the sudden, it was lightning. That it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's really freaking weird.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, one, okay. Then the second group,
I've seen people killed by electrocution. Now I know that's different than lightning because I've never seen somebody struck by lightning. I've talked to a few people who have been hit by lightning, but I've never, as a cop, went to a scene where somebody had been struck by lightning. I have gone to a couple of electrocutions, and I'm telling you, if lightning's anything like the amount of electricity that comes out of a high voltage line into somebody, there are signs. Yeah. You can see it instantly. You're like, oh, whoa, yeah, clearly.
You think lightning's got to be 50 to 100 times more powerful than that anyway? Probably even more than that. I'm just throwing a number out there. I mean, what did Doc Brown say?
Comment there.
1.21 gigawatts?
Yeah. Doc Brown's trying to get back in time. Marty! Yeah. Toshi says either this is living lightning like an elemental or something someone is using lightning as a weapon. I'm not saying they're not. I don't know. But all I'm saying is two guys dying at once, that's weird. Another set of two guys and their dogs dying together, okay, that's a major coincidence. But a third, we lost 5 hunters plus their dogs in 2 months, give or take, all to deadly lightning strikes. It's mind-boggling how astronomically low the chances of that are. It's literally like winning the Powerball the first time you ever play.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another good comment from Steve. He says, "Is there a way to see from NOAA the lightning strikes in the area at the time of the strike?" There is, but they've released like the time frame, like it was within these days, but we don't know time of death, so it's not like that's never been released. We know with the first two, we know within about a 3-day window of when it happened. The guys in Florida were missing for a couple of days before they were discovered, so we know about a 2 or 3 day window. The guy that was killed solo was missing for a couple of days as well, so we don't know exactly what day. But considering Florida, it rains pretty much daily, and you get storms blowing into the high Rockies all the time. If it was lightning doing that, there'd be a lot more of it because there's always people in the Rockies. And if it was this bad in Florida, you couldn't leave your house without getting struck because Florida rains all the damn time. Mm-hmm. So there is a way to check it, but we don't have an exact time frame to know when it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that too.
I'm not saying what I think it is or what I think it is because I don't know, but it's definitely something that makes you go, that's very odd.
Yes, it's one of those things that's just like this just don't sit right. Just a guy says FOIA for the coroner's report to get the approximate date time if they close the investigation. I'd be willing to bet it's still open, even though they said this was the cause of death. I would bet you couldn't FOIA it. I would put money on it. I might try, but I'm gonna. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Ventus Bruma. Thank you so much. He said, "Where's the comment?"
Said I've heard a couple of people from the paranormal to cryptid field research mention that energy in charge spots seems to be getting higher. Maybe there is something environmental going on.
We're going to discuss that as well. But thank you for the super chat. There may be very well something's environmental going on that we're just not aware of. Let me see. I know I missed some comments.
Vicky's got a good point. Lightning strike could warm the body and throw the time of death off.
True. Just a guy said, "Oh, that we already covered that one." Sorry, thought I had. Ron Yelton says, "Sounds like a UFO phenomenon, maybe something out of the missing 411." It's certainly strange enough to be a missing 411, but they find the bodies. Is the issue. Larry Berlin says maybe being zapped by UFOs. And then we've got Julie Welchek says, when I was in junior high, my best friend was struck and killed by lightning. She ran between the car and a tree, and the only mark on her was she was wearing a cross necklace, and it was burned. It does happen. People do get struck and killed by lightning every year. I'm no way in shape or form denying that happens. The weird thing is the frequency and the fact that 3 of the 5 were very almost practically on top of each other on the same mountain area. And then the 2 men and their dogs killed in Florida. It's just really bizarre. Again, I'm not saying it's not lightning. I'm not going to try to blame it on cryptids or global warming or directed energy weapons. I'm not going to get the tinfoil hat and throw that. I'm just saying that something's not adding up, and it's just really weird that all of those happen so close together. Arkansas says also DA. There's been more Black Panther sightings in the day down this way in Big Creek Wildlife Management Area. They got some dandy pictures, I bet. And I'm not surprised about that. But before we get into the bears, let's talk about something that is really odd. And this one is almost hilarious. It is funny when you think about it. This happened in San Rafael, California, about a month ago. A rogue squirrel attacked 2 women and put them in the hospital.
Dang it, Misty.
It attacked multiple residents of San Rafael, sending 2 women to the ER with severe lacerations. They think that maybe people were feeding it and it got pissed off when no one was feeding it anymore. They don't know. But what are who had a show of hands, who had killer squirrels for October? Who's got that on their bingo card? And I'm reasonably certain, since everybody survived, that they saw it was a squirrel. So I was not saying it's a dog man who was pretending to be a squirrel or anything like that. It was clearly a squirrel, but that is just nuts for a squirrel to attack people, let alone put people in the hospital.
Hillary said Misty ain't had her shots.
So has Misty been in California lately? Born to run says, I've seen mean squirrels before. I have too, but I've never seen one attack a person to the point, unless you're talking about Mississippi squirrel revival. Now that's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
But
Hagen Trucker said meth squirrel.
Meth squirrel. Paramedics says average of 400 people are lightning struck, 20 to 50 deaths a year in the U.S. But what are the odds that 5 hunters, 2 of them in pairs with one group with their dogs, that close together, well, especially 3 of them killed in the same area, the same mountain range, it just doesn't happen like that. It is weird. I mean, it's such an outlier.
Well, the thing is, lightning strikes are so random. That's why the numbers are so low. I think is, if lightning always struck around the same area,
people would stay the hell out of that area.
Yeah. But they're so random. You never know. I mean, even if you sit, you're watching a lightning strike that happens a mile away from you, that doesn't mean that you're safe. I mean, it could, the next strike could be right where you're standing. They're just so random and no way to predict them. I mean, that's why. So, to me, though, that's what makes it so much more compelling that there was that many people in that short amount of time that were struck and killed by it. As they are so random. It's not like they're directed.
Yeah, and again, we're not trying to claim this was somehow cryptid involved or anything like that. It's just really freaking weird. I'd be interested to see if we have any more lightning-related deaths in the next month or so. I really would. Okay. Who remembers a few months ago when the guy in Florida, the old man in Florida, was killed by a black bear that went into his trailer, dragged him out of the trailer, stripped his clothes off, took his wallet out of his pocket, and then partially ate him and covered him in leaves, then went back to the trailer and killed his dog without damaging the trailer. Anybody remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
That one was pretty interesting. Now, just a few weeks ago, in Arkansas, early in the month of October, and an elderly gentleman was riding his tractor, spreading gravel down his driveway, and allegedly a 70-pound juvenile black bear attacked him, jumped him on the tractor, and that I can tell you, that is not typical black bear behavior. They don't like loud noise. I cannot see them running up on a running tractor because they're not quiet. It ain't like they're subtle. So okay, fine. We got two black bear deaths. That was supposed to be the first black bear related death, first black bear related fatality in Arkansas in like 25 years or something like that, maybe more than that. And then just a few days ago, another man. This man was from right here in Springfield. He was camping near Mount Judea in Arkansas when he was attacked by a bear. Although they found no evidence to say for sure that it was the bear, they believe it was a bear because he had texted his family a couple of pictures of bears that he'd seen, black bears, that he'd seen seen near the campground a few days prior. But he was badly mauled and partially eaten, and they immediately said bear, even though I don't think they've caught the bear yet. The bear. That one makes me go, So we couple that with back in September. This one didn't make the news. A black bear entered a Dollar General store in New Jersey and attacked a woman, put her in the hospital. This is caught on camera. This was a black bear. And just a few days after that, coyotes attacked two hikers, also in the Pine Barrens in Jersey. One coyote did test positive for rabies. So again, I'm not gonna just immediately be one of those people that said, that bear attack, Bigfoot. I'm not gonna do that. We all know who I'm talking about. You're that coyote. That's a Bigfoot sounding like a coyote. We're not doing that. What we're saying is these are weird. And if this is animal behavior, something has changed. Something has caused these animals to get far more aggressive. Now, Robbie and I had a theory that one of the reasons more cryptid sightings are happening in and near towns is because of the Black Plague of the 21st century. When everybody stayed home for over a year, animals started coming in. And just last night, I saw deer. There's a vacant lot down the street from my house. There were deer in that vacant lot. They don't build anything there because there's a sinkhole in it. Apparently, that area used to be an old an old nickel mine back in the 1800s. So it's unstable. They can't build a house on it. But there were deer in that field. And that is like 4 houses down from mine. Robbie, you know the lot I'm talking about, the one right there at that little curve in the road?
Yeah.
There was like 6 deer out there. And I was like, holy crap, we're in town. We're across 2 major interstates to get to us. So, that's interesting that they got this far in town. But if the prey animals are here, predator animals ain't far behind. And here in Springfield in the last 2 years, they've caught both black bear and mountain lions on Ring doorbell cameras in town. And we're the 3rd largest city in the state. So, are they bear attacks? Well, there seem to be witnesses that say, but if they are, the attacks are out of character. Black bears are generally not that aggressive. I'm not saying black bears don't attack people, but it's a lot more rare than you hear about, say, up in grizzly country or in Alaska or up near the Arctic Circle where polar bears will attack you just because you're on the menu. Black bears generally don't put us on the menu. It takes some pretty special circumstances. So what's causing these animals to go rogue?
Well, and that like you said, I would say 99% of black bear attacks are because it's a mother with cubs or it's a territorial thing. Very, very rarely do black bears attack for humans for food, because I don't know that there's that many that I can even remember reading about that where people were even partially eaten by black bear. It's mostly just a mauling, and the bear goes on about its business. Yeah, grizzlies.
Tyrone, you're absolutely right, but there hasn't been a Wolverine sighting in Missouri ever, to my knowledge. They're generally like up near the Canadian border. Anyway, go ahead, Robbie. Sorry.
No, I was finished. I was just, it's not typically a predation type thing like it is with a grizzly or a polar bear.
Monica, is that Devias? Monica Devias says if any animal has rabies, it will cause them to be aggressive. But the thing is only one time has rabies even been mentioned as a possibility, because allegedly they got the bears that have attacked these people. And they've never said anything in the word one about any of them having rabies, except for one of these coyotes that attacked one of the hikers in the Pine Barrens. So what's causing such a bizarre change in behavior for these animals? Because this is out of character. These we're talking about black bears that are truly omnivores. They'll eat roots, berries. They'll eat just about anything, insects, small animals, but they generally don't come after people. I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying they're not capable of it. They're certainly strong enough to put a whooping on somebody, but we're not normally on the menu. They generally run from people. 70-pound is a juvenile, yes.
There again, very strange behavior for a juvenile black bear.
Right. We saw about an 80 or 90-pound juvie when we were up in the Smoky Mountains. It was it climbed up and was licking the grease out of the trap on the barbecue grill, and I went, "Hey!" and it was like, "Oh Jesus!" and took off. I mean, it wasn't aggressive. It just got the hell out of there. And he was a good sized blackie, but he was still a juvie. I mean, we knew Mama had to be around there somewhere, but he was, like I said, he was probably less than 100 pounds. He wasn't much bigger than my dog, but he was starting to fill out a bit. Miss Lene says chronic wasting disease and losing their fear of humans. Yeah, it could be something. Chronic wasting disease may have an effect on that. If they can't eat the deer population, they've got to find an alternative food source. So what exactly is the underlying cause for all these changes in animals? And then on top of that, you throw in the wild dog attacks in South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. And most recently, I heard of a pack of wild dogs killing livestock near Taylor, Mississippi. There's just not that many wild dogs running around. Farmers tend to take care of that because you cannot afford to let them take out your livestock. And the daughter and the husband of the lady that was attacked in Kentucky both have claimed that what attacked her mother and his wife, both of them had said, what attacked her was on two legs. Northwood says my ex has mad cow disease. Estelle Hartington says they just had a 520-pound black bear shot around here. There was probably a 650-pound one just down the road from Robbie's house. They got it on game cam. That was a big old fat bear.
Dude, in between Mom and Dad's house and my house, right outside my window, basically, not down the road. Right outside.
That was a big damn bear.
That my right-hand side here.
That trail cam image that Robbie sent me, I swear, is probably the biggest black bear I've ever seen. He was massive. And when I first saw it, I thought it was a grizzly because of how big he was. But I looked at him like, no, because it was a black and white photo from a trail cam. So at first, when I first saw it, I'm like, God dang, is that a grizzly? Because he was freaking massive. And then I got to looking at the nose and the shape of the head. I'm like, no, that's a blackie. But to see one that big, yeah, that's not one I'd want to run into, because if he wanted my picnic basket, he's getting it. Yeah. Lone Queen says rabies can take two forms: highly aggressive or lethargic. Heard a vet say some people get exposed to rabies because their pet just stops eating, drinking without aggression. I've only ever seen in my lifetime one rabid animal that dog came after me. Rounds from a 12 gauge to finally put it down. It kept trying to come, even though it was like flopping and trying to get to him, foaming at the mouth. Yeah, that was pretty terrifying. But fortunately, Dad was quick on grabbing the shotgun, getting outside when he heard me yell. or it might have got me. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever actually seen what I believe was wasn't just believe, it was a rabid animal, but that's the only time I've ever had to deal with one. You start throwing in those wild dog attacks. One of them, which was in Crook County, Tennessee, she was missing 40% of her flesh. That doesn't happen in the blink of an eye. The dogs couldn't have done 40% in just because people called and said they heard the woman screaming. So it's not like she was out there for hours while these dogs fed on her. She was still alive when they got her to the hospital, but she did not survive her injuries. But they said it had consumed about 40% of her. That's incredible. One, for her to still be alive, and two, just the amount of blood loss had to be, and that just a few stray dogs couldn't have done that fast to a grown person. Even my dog Harley, who's he's probably, well, he's a little chubby, but he's around the 100-pound mark. There's no way he could eat enough to make a significant loss. I mean, he's going to get full and go lay down and take a nap. That's a lot of meat for a few dogs to consume. So, and that's another one that just didn't add up. The wild dog attacks, I'm going to straight up say, a lot of those are probably stories to cover up dog man attacks. But these bear attacks, those are the ones that are kind of freaking me out, because could it be cryptid related and they're just covering up? Absolutely. Could it be a bear? Absolutely. However, as we've stated, this is just really freaking weird behavior for a bear.
And that's the thing too. If it's, no matter which one of those it is, it's weird, strange, whatever you want to say. No matter which one it is, if it is wild dogs attacking and doing this kind of damage and that much, that's strange in itself. They're using it to cover up cryptid, and there's cryptids out there doing this. That's scary as hell.
Damn sure is.
It's the same thing with the bear. If this is all actual bears attacks, that's really strange behavior for black bears, which is scary. And okay, what's all the other ones going to start? Maybe this CWD is affecting them, like we've talked about. Like we talked about, you control the population by controlling the population's food. Well, they don't ever think about the side effects of that, which is, if you're doing that to take it away from us, you're not just taking it away from us, you're taking it away from things in nature that use it. They're going
to find a way to eat.
Yeah, there's always a cause and effect to everything.
Just a guy says, DA, you're forgetting that prior attack in the same county around the same place had its death revealed by the sheriff for the official report. Absolutely. And I had a chance to look at the autopsy reports of those two people, and that was either the most incompetently done autopsy in the history of freaking autopsies, or that was a cover story that was handed out to the media. Because I sent them to Robbie, and in my career I've looked at, I don't know how many freaking coroner's reports. I've looked at a lot of them, and that was the most incomplete coroner's report I mean, completely glossed over all the information that an investigator would want.
There was far more on the page that was redacted than there was actually visible writing.
Dorothy Wade says there have been misidentified cases of bears and Bigfoot. Very true. There are people that have mistaken one for the other on more than one occasion. And a lot of people mistake large bear tracks for Bigfoot prints. How it happens is called a double step. But how you can identify that and tell it apart pretty easily, because when bears walk, they kind of tend to overlap their feet. They don't walk like we do, like this. They tend to swing their leg around and walk almost with their tracks almost in a single file line. And when they do that, linear motion. And so when they do that, sometimes they have a tendency of stepping with one foot either right in or right up against one of its previous tracks. And in that case, you get what's called a double step. And how you can tell it's not a Bigfoot track is the fact that, one, there'll be claw indentions, and two, the middle toes on a bear are like our fingers. The middle toes are longer than the outer toes, and Bigfoot tend to be like our feet. The big toe kind of split, kind of sets out, and the longer toes are the first couple, and then they kind of fall off from there. Um, bears don't do that. Bears, it looks, well, it doesn't really look canine. You can tell it's canid of the sort because they are related. Ursa and canid are closely related, just not the same species. However, you can tell the track because of the way those toes are. Hey, Wyatt, you guys find anything? Him and Richard were going out tonight. I don't know if they've made it yet. Hope they find a lot. Okay, here's 3 more animal maulings I didn't even know about, and they're blaming it on pit bulls. That always seems to that Harley's a pit. That dog is the least aggressive dog I think I've ever owned. He is just a big puppy. And I'm not saying there aren't aggressive dogs out there, no way, shape, or form, but it does seem to be an awfully convenient excuse. Wichita, Kansas, and Cape Coral, Florida. Multiple fatal pit bull attacks, including infants and elderly victims over the period of like the last year. And in Italy, a baby girl was allegedly killed by a pit bull that had previously attacked another dog. Pit bulls seem to be a pretty convenient scapegoat. Now, you might notice about every decade they single out a breed to say it's the worst breed and it's violent, it'll kill you. When I was a kid, it was German Shepherds, and then it went to Dobermans, and then it went to Rottweilers, and I think it went back to German Shepherds for a while, and now the big bad evil dog breed is pit bulls. But I really don't think all of these dog attacks are really dogs. I think it is an easy way for them to cover up what is happening, much like the case in Meeker, Colorado, when all those livestock were killed, and they found traces of unknown canine DNA. That got released before it got redacted. That actually got released to the public that it was unknown canine. So you can take a DNA swab of your dog and send it to your vet, and they can tell you your dog is 3% this, 5% that, 2% that. They can break down your dog's genetic profile and identify every dog that's in his bloodline, every type of dog that's in his bloodline. So where the hell does unknown canine come from?
In this day and age, that's almost.
We know wolves, we know coyotes, we know foxes. Foxes technically aren't the same species, but let's go with that. We know wolves, we know coyotes, we know dire wolves, we know all of these canine species, but unknown canine. That's just insane. I agree, Northwoods, dog breed's not the problem, the owners are. If you teach a dog to be mean, it's going to be mean. I don't care what breed it is. If you're mean to a dog, you're going to make that dog mean. It doesn't matter, if it's a pit bull or a Chihuahua. Well, Chihuahuas don't need much encouragement.
No,
Chihuahuas are just little demons, I think. Just a guy says, aren't the Russians actively trying to domesticate foxes? The Japanese are too. You can get get a snow fox as a pet. They're expensive, but I don't know that I would want one, because the first time I was sound asleep and one of those things made one of those weird fox noises, I'd be out of bed so fast with a gun I wouldn't know. Because foxes are freaking terrifying when you hear them out in the woods.
My dad used to have one. It was pretty cool. His name was Redmond Theodore Foxworthy.
Foxworthy.
Yep.
That's funny.
Red the Fox. Redmond Theodore Foxworthy.
That's funny. Here's another bear attack. This one was in Japan. This was this month. 4.5 foot tall bear entered a supermarket in Numata, Japan, injuring 2 men and rampaging through the fruit section. A separate fatal mauling occurred nearby the same day. And that one was verified to be a bear. This is just not normal behavior. Is something causing our animals to get more violent? Is something causing nature to kind of fight back? Not that we don't deserve it. I mean, we've been horrible to this planet. Valdosta, Georgia. This was earlier this year. A 2-year-old boy was allegedly mauled to death by a pair of Rottweilers. Miami, Florida. A man was killed by wild dogs in Liberty City. And another fatal attack occurred just weeks earlier in the same city by the same pack of wild dogs. In Ohio, a pit bull was previously reported for aggression and then killed a 6-month-old baby. The father pled guilty to manslaughter. So that one's verified. It was a dog. The guy ended up going to jail for it. But, this is just another great example of animals that are turning on us. Roanoke County, Virginia. A dog that had attacked 2 people earlier mauled a woman in the street. The dog was shot and killed. Saddle River, New Jersey. Oh, we talked about that one all. 2 people were attacked while hiking. Atlantic Beach, Florida. 3 attacks in 2 days. One man was followed and attacked from behind. Another dog was injured defending its owner. They claim that was wild dogs. But that's in Florida, where if they had wild dogs running out into the Everglades, the big damn gators and the big damn snakes would have took care of them. That one almost sounds like, something of the 2-legged variety may have gotten after them.
Florida's the new Australia.
Yeah, pretty much. Durham, North Carolina. Multiple fox attacks in a single neighborhood. One man had to kick the fox off his dog. That's unheard of. Foxes go after chickens. They might go after a cat, but foxes aren't that brave. They will not generally go after a much bigger animal. Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Another fox attacked a teenage girl just days after the bear incident and the coyotes that attacked the hikers. Olympic National Park, Washington. A 4-year-old child was bitten by a collared mountain lion while walking with the family. The cougar was later tracked and euthanized. This was an animal they were studying. So it had one of those radio collars on it. Duffy Hill Mountain Bike Park, Sammamish, Washington. Multiple cougar sightings in July prompted warnings and signage. Locals reported seeing big cats near the trails, sparking fear among bikers and hikers. So people were hiking in that area were being stalked by cougars. Cougars are dangerous. That's one of the reasons I say if you're going in the woods, go armed, because they can and will attack people. Last year in Olympic National Park, a 60-year-old woman was mauled while biking. Her friends fought off the cougar. In July of 23, an 8-year-old was attacked and the mother fended off the cat. These are just mountain lion attacks on people. So yes, they happen. I'm not trying to explain any of these away with anything with cryptids whatsoever. It's just more bizarre animal behavior with violence on humans. What do you think? What's your theory, Robbie?
I think there are things that they're trying to cover up, but I do think that there is an uptick in strange animal behavior where it's actually these animals doing things that they don't normally do. Now, whether that's like we talked about the CWD causing it, or it just a change in times, however, whatever spin you want to put on it. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, and I don't think any of it's good. Just put it that way.
In March of this year, 3 mountain bikers went missing on the Appalachian Trail. Okay, that people disappear in the Appalachians. That's a rough area to be out by yourself. But when they found they didn't ever found the guys. When they found what was left of their gear, they recovered a cell phone where one had recorded a message that said they have been stalked by a Bigfoot for the last 2 days. And they haven't found them 3. Now that one, I'm straight up saying that one was Bigfoot.
You don't play around in the Appalachian Mountains.
No, you do not. That's right in your backyard. Right where the foothills of the Appalachians is where that howl was recorded.
Yep.
Toshi says, I think there's something messing with the animals and cryptid attacks being covered up. Oh, I absolutely think so. Arkansas says the Bible speaks of these kind of things happening in the end times. Well, I don't know if it's the end times, but it's certainly spicy times. This is a great time, folks. If you're going out in the woods, if you're going fishing or anything, take a med kit, preferably Dark Angel, but take a med kit. And if you live someplace where you are allowed to carry a cordless hole punching device that spews freedom seeds, do so, because mountain lions, bear attacks, wolf attacks, coyote attacks, fox attacks, wild. Did I say wild dogs already? No, I didn't. Wild dogs, and then of course, you're not going to worry. You have to forget about the greater North American meth head, but the woods are a dangerous place.
No
Uh,
ropes.
yeah, nope ropes, damn snakes. Just like for example, this is if you were if you were low on gas and your options were pull off the interstate into a very bad neighborhood or push it till you get someplace that's well lit, you're going to go where it's well lit, right? You're not going to just pull into some area where the lights are flickering and people are standing around waiting for you to stop. You're not going to stop someplace like that. You're going to push that gas until you can find someplace that's well lit to tank up and keep on the road. By that same token, if you're going in the woods, watch those areas. Look up, because cougars are ambush predators. They'll drop on you. Bears climb trees, and it's lots of reports of cryptids climbing trees. So if you're going to be out there, you've got to be observant. You've got to pay attention to your surroundings. Just like in the urban jungle, you have to be aware of your surroundings. You need to keep your head on a swivel and be aware of your surroundings. What do we like to call that, Robbie?
Situational awareness.
Bing, bing, bing. Give that man a cigar. Situational awareness, folks, and that's something I used to hammer to rookie cops when I was a FTO. I was a field training officer. I would hammer to these young kids. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to watch their eyes, watch their hands, watch your area. Keep your head on a swivel. You've got to be situationally aware. Look, why? I could take him. Yeah, but is he alone? Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, you've got to keep your head. You got to be aware of your surroundings at all times. You've got to control the situation as well as controlling those tools on your belt, because any one of those can be taken away from you and used against you. These are the kind of things that a lot of young guys going into law enforcement don't think of. And same token, a lot of people that have never spent a whole lot of time in the woods don't realize just how much danger they can be in. And I'm not saying don't go in the woods. I think a bad day out in the woods is better than a day in the city any day of the week. I love being out in nature. I love being out away from the noise of the town. Just being out there where the only thing you hear is the wind blowing through the trees and maybe the water gurgling by as the creek or the river flows by you. That, to me, that's just some of the best places to be. That's where you get your head right. But at the same time, you have got to be aware of your surroundings, because we are, at the end of the day, we're just another animal. And a large enough predator, as demonstrated by some of these bear attacks, these mountain lion attacks, a large enough predator, if he's hungry, can and will take a human down. So situational awareness, folks. Those are words to live by. You've got to be aware of your surroundings. You've got to be aware of the danger, the potential danger. Even if you don't see the danger, you have to be aware of the potential danger. What could happen? What could go wrong? And try to be as prepared as you can, because it's your life you're saving.
Yeah, I mean, we've preached situational awareness on multiple shows, and you can't ever be too careful. You can't ever watch too many areas. It's just, it goes back to great movie. I think it was called The Getaway. Timothy Oliphant, Stephen Zahn, and all that. Basically, Timothy Oliphant's character was Special Forces. I'm pretty sure he was Navy SEAL, because some of the stuff he's talking about situational awareness, and he's talking about. He asked him, says, when you get on an airplane, do you know how many how many rows up your seat is from the door? Do you know exactly how many people you're going to have to climb over top of to get back out if something happens? When you go into a grocery store, do you count how many aisles over from the door you are? If something happens, you got to get out of there quick. If you're driving down the road and something bad happens, do you know how long it's going to take you to get back? If you have to walk, do you know how far you're going to have to walk to get back to your house or get to safety or whatever? I mean, things like that. A lot of people don't like to think about them because they're that's scary. I don't want to think, but it may save your life sometime.
Very well could. What's up, Brett? How you doing, brother?
Yeah,
Listen,
Brett.
with all that's going on today, situational awareness is very much needed. Absolutely. Camo Dad says busy night in the ER. Ooh, good luck, man. I've had those nights. Look at it. Look and see if I missed any comments. Kevin Bode says contingency plan. Yeah, they used to tell us, and I've heard this quote attributed to a Marine general. What was his name? He was Mad Dog Mattis. I've heard this quote. I've heard this quote attributed to Mad Dog Mattis, but when I went to the Corrections Academy, they hammered this into our head, and when I went to the Law Enforcement Academy, they hammered it into our head. It says be friendly, be polite, but have a plan to kill everybody in the room.
Yep.
And even today, I took Annette out for lunch today, and we went to a place here in town, a restaurant called Big Whiskey's. I'm going to take you there, Robbie. You're going to like it.
You've been promising to take me there ever since I started coming down there.
We have gone to some of the other ones, but
True.
we haven't made it to Big Whiskey's yet. There's so many good places around here I want to take you. But anyway, we went and ate at Big Whiskey's today. And even though I'm not a cop anymore, Annette knows that there's no way I can relax and eat if I'm not sitting with my back to a wall. And she's like, okay, where do you need to sit before I sit down? And I said, I need over here. Otherwise, because if I can't see the door, I can't eat. And watch your exits, know your exit strategy, know who you've got to protect or who you've got to put down.
Me and Doc do that every single time we go to a place. He's like, I got that door. I'm like, I got that door. Because we sat down at I think it was Steak and Shake before we came to meet you. We told you, hey, we're gonna stop and get us something, or we're gonna get us something to eat before we come over. And we stopped there, and we walked in, and he looked. He's like, okay, let's sit there. That way I can watch that door. You can watch that door. But it's funny, but it's something that we do without even having to talk about it. So, But that's why when all of us are together, we talk about it, because we can't ever talk about it with anybody else because we do it all the time. But it's funny to say, you got that one? Yep, I got this one.
There's something else that I found funny. Going to be ingrained in your head. If you get a group of guys together who have all served in the military and they go to, say, the mall, or they go to the lake, or they go someplace as a group, if we're going somewhere, watch, within a few seconds, we will, without even thinking about it, fall into step together. I've laughed about that numerous times because it's happened with no conscious thought whatsoever, that I'm walking with a group of guys and I look down and we're all in step.
Yep. But it's okay. We make jokes about all that stuff, but situational awareness can keep you alive in a situation. When things go dark, the old saying is, chance favors the prepared mind. And if you're in a situation where, chances are you may get out of it or you may not, your chances are better if you're prepared than if you're not prepared.
Yeah. What was the old expression? Failure to plan is planning to fail.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Kevin Bode says, if I sit to the door behind me, it means I trust someone who's across from me. Exactly. And that's one of the things that me and my military buddies and my law enforcement buddies, we just kind of do subconsciously. If one of us has got our back to the door, the other one's watching the door. And if there's multiple exits, we'll set so one of us is watching each of them.
Yep, that's what I was talking about with me and Doc. I was sitting where, instead of sitting where the door for to each of our sides, we're sitting where my back might have been facing that door, but Doc was watching that door while I was watching the other door coming in from behind him. Or the first time that the two of us went somewhere to eat together, there was only one door, so I sat with my back to the door because I knew Doc was armed and I trusted Doc, and Doc was watching the door. But there again, that's if I don't trust somebody, I'm not going to sit with my back to the door.
Amen. Sherry Radway says, let me put the comment up. She says, I've always walked a bit, stop, listen, look, wait a bit, repeat while walking in the woods. My pa taught me this when I was little. He said, never know what's there, and you want to be prepared. I find myself kind of falling back on hunter's steps in the woods. I don't just walk with a regular rhythm. You take a couple steps and stop, and you take another step and stop, and just throw your rhythm off. And but you can also walk on the outside edges of your feet, put most of your weight out there, and it throws off the sound of your steps. And there are a lot of little tricks you can do in the woods. And if you guys are going to be in Ohio at the Spirit of the Forest Bigfoot Festival in Ohio, coming up in 2 weeks and 2 days, so 16 days from now, Robbie is going to be teaching a tracking class, and I'm going to be assisting with said tracking class plus filming a lot of it. But we're also going to be adding something different. This was at the request of Susan, the lady that's putting on the show. We're going to be doing a night tracking class, which is a little different. You're going to have to rely on other senses, and you can't just rely on your eyesight. Tracking at night's a whole different animal. So if you guys are going to be anywhere near the area, we would love to have you guys there. Sign up for some classes. Come hear us talk, or if you don't want to do the lectures, just come by our table, and probably going to find us at the bonfire that night too. Probably find one or both of us within arm's reach at the very least. So come on out and see us. We would love to see you guys there.
Yep.
Brett says, I had a man come near me when we were doing pictures this past weekend, and my senses picked up on his energy, and it wasn't good. I immediately got my family out of the area. Dude, I can't tell you the number of times I've done that. Annette she can see the change in me before I say anything. She knows me well enough to read my body language. When my body language shifts what she calls cop mode, she says, when I go into cop mode, she knows something's wrong. Kevin says he'll be in the class again. Hell yeah, Kevin. Awesome, brother. We might even draft you to help teach it. Usually, what do they call it in training classes? Use him as a oogie. Most dangerous thing in the world is an oogie. So in August of this year, in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, people caught images of a what they believe is a Bigfoot on trail cam. I've seen the image. I've been trying to chase down better copies because I've seen like 3rd and 4th generation versions. The images are kind of compelling. And that's just right here in Missouri. But here's one we need to plan for a future show about this. And we're going to need to get Jesus back on the show, because the last couple of months, violent encounters on the Navajo Res in New Mexico and Arizona, especially near the town of Saley, Arizona, have skyrocketed. Yeah, this article I'm looking at is talking about just a massive upswing in Bigfoot sightings on the res.
I'll text old big homie and see if he's heard anything.
Yeah, because that's his territory. So if he knows anything about it, maybe we ought to plan a show around that. Okay. April of this month in northern Georgia, a family in Rome, Georgia was allegedly attacked by a 7 to 9 foot tall dog man on their property. They own some wooded property. The creature allegedly grabbed a young boy and tried to drag him away before the father shot it. That night, the family was stalked for hours by an entire pack of what appeared to be dog men. The case was actually first broken and talked about by Kenny Thibodeau on Cryptid Hunters podcast. I like Jessica's show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to hear the full details of that one, you can probably catch that episode. But yeah, family attacked in northern Georgia.
Steve Blanton thought Jesus was a pat. Jesus is not. I don't think he's Apache.
No, he says he's. I believe he said he was of Mayan descent.
Yeah.
According to the NADP, North American Dogman Project, for those of you who aren't aware, that they're supposedly logged sightings and encounters in LBL this year, and a female dog, a dog woman case in Kentucky, including reports of howls, stalking, and territorial aggression. A live map, apparently from a company, a website called MapStack, not MapSquatch, MapStack, shows clusters of dogman sightings across the U.S., especially in Kentucky, Michigan, and Georgia. So dogman sightings are on a massive uptick this year.
Yep. Rodney says there's a lot of sightings in Georgia too.
It doesn't surprise me. Georgia's where you and Jessica got cut off from the vehicle, didn't you? Or about did.
Yeah.
Oh, June of this year. I've got to find where this one's at. Because it's apparently not very far from me. Eric, Edie, if they were in the chat and you know anything about this, get with me, shoot me a text. Because apparently there was in June of this year, there was an Ozark howler sighting in the Mark Twain National Forest, where they reported bone-chilling howls, livestock mutilations, and claw marks on the barn. If I can find that, I'm going to check that out. Gugway sighting in the Pacific Northwest just like a couple months ago. Multiple reports of aggressive Bigfoot encounters described as more bear-like with claws in the snout near logging roads in Washington and Oregon. One hiker claimed to be chased for over a mile with claw marks found on nearby trees.
Grandizer 12 asked us a question about
Yeah, I'll put it up there. He says, howdy, D.A. Roberts, Roddy Rains. I like that. Roddy Rains. Speaking of the res, did you ever get a chance to interview or work with J.C. Johnson of Crypto Four Corners before he passed away? No, I reached out to him a couple times. We never got to make contact. I've been also trying to get a hold of Brenda. I can't remember Brenda's last name. Brenda Harris. She lives on the Navajo res and has collected tons of stories on the res out there in the Four Corners area. I've been trying to get a hold of her. We don't really have many friends in common, but Jesus knows her. In fact, when he was on the res, he said he stayed with her while they were doing investigations. So I'm going to see if I can talk Jesus into getting her so we can get her on the show. Robbie, would you mind talking to Big Homie about that?
Yep.
Awesome. Because I know we mentioned it before, but we didn't circle back to it. And guess what else reared its head after several years of not being seen? I remember you guys. If I had been able to make it to the conference, we were planning on going out there. The Lake Worth monster was seen in July.
Huh. Yeah. We actually never got a chance to make it out there, but
A group of teens claim a goat man type creature threw rocks at their car at Lake Worth. Police found large footprints and clawed tree bark.
Yeah, that one's kind of a interesting one because there's never a concise description of what it is. I mean, it's been described so many different ways: goat man, dog man, Bigfoot, actual aquatic lake monster type. I mean, it's got like multiple personalities, I think.
Also, in August of 2025, a rancher reported what he believes was a thunderbird. Said a massive winged creature was seen swooping low over his cattle. Later, he found a calf dead with puncture wounds and feathers nearby. It's amazing how much of an uptick animal attacks and cryptid encounters are on the uprise. So many more happening this year. In fact, I personally have taken more this year than I think I have in the last probably the last 5 years. It's definitely been more this year than in the previous 5 years. Okay. That one. Oh, in addition to about the guy that said he was chased by a gugway, they found not only the claw marks on the nearby trees, but he described hearing guttural growls and smelled like a wet dog when it was chasing him. July of this year in Oregon, a group of campers near Crater Lake claimed a snouted cryptid circled their tents for hours, growling and throwing rocks. One camper fired a warning shot, after which the creature vanished into the trees.
Snouted cryptid.
Sounds like a
Either
gugway to me.
Dogman or a gugway.
Dogman or a gugway.
Or how did Eli pronounce it when he was narrating? Gugway.
Gugway.
Might be a gugway. Sorry, that's funny. He had a lot of pronunciations that were funny in that book.
Eric was telling me there was an Ozark howler sighting out not too far from him. June of 2025, that was just a couple months ago. Forsyth, Missouri, screams and trail cam images captured. Sharon and Steve Robinson reported hearing a disturbing scream while walking their bloodhound after dark. They placed a trail cam near the site and captured images of a strange creature hiding behind trees. An animal expert refused the footage and was visibly shaken. Said he didn't know what the hell it was. And apparently they were doing a ghost walk in Stark Caverns near Eldon, Missouri, and somebody claimed to have seen an Ozark howler in the cave. Did Jesus text you back?
No, I'm about to.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd already texted him.
No, not yet. I just yeah. Look at your not the co-host. Look at your message. Rodney just sent me that video. You probably don't want to show it, but
Is it on Facebook?
Messenger, your personal messenger.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, that's a little graphic. We probably can't show that.
But
Jesus Christ!
I said, holy shit balls. They said that was in Mississippi, I think. Let me pull it back up right quick. In Mississippi, while hunting, trying to find out more. Someone a mutual friend of ours knows.
Let me check something. I want to hold on. Just give me just a second.
No, Miss Lene, you do not want to see it. I promise you. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I'm not. You do not want to see it, does she?
No. I thought about trying to show it, but I can't get it to download. Folks, this is one very graphic video. I'll describe it for you, but be warned. This poor dog, looks like a beagle hunting dog, is just about torn in two. It really looks like in possibly one bite.
Yeah, it looks like a bite wound.
It looks like a bite wound. Basically took everything from below its ribs to its hips to the backbone. This dog has almost been bitten in two. And this just happened. I mean, the blood's still wet. What the hell did that to that poor dog? Folks, I would have to do I would probably get hit by YouTube if we showed that for graphic content. Yeah, if anybody would like to see that video, I'll see what I can do about sharing it with you. But be warned, it is graphic. It doesn't show what did it, but yeah, that was shocking to see how much damage was done to that poor dog. Just a guy says Patreon or Discord. Yeah, probably one or the two, maybe both. I'll definitely put it up on the Patreon. And let you guys take a look. Yeah. Let me hang on just a second. Let me see if I can forward this. Brett, look at your Facebook Messenger right now. I just sent it. I want to see Brett watch it and then post your reaction in the chat. In fact, Brett, if you're not busy, do you want to jump on with us? I'll send you a link. It'd be nice to have another set of eyes talking about it. Kevin says, "Yeah, not worth it. I don't want to put it on just put it up on the live because I guarantee we'd get hit by YouTube. That is graphic as hell." Monica says, "Did someone you know?" Yeah, friend of mutual friend that Robbie and I know send it to us. If you guys are going to be at and I know that's a shameless plug. If you're going to be in Ohio, Kevin, I know you'll be there. If you want to see it, I'll have it on my phone. But I'm telling you, don't watch this video if you don't have a strong stomach. Artemis says, "I'm an ex-hunter and trapper. If you hunted and trapped and you skinned and clean animals, no big shock for you, other than the fact that this was done to a dog, a hunting dog, very recently." Did you see that?
Which one? Who? What? When?
Brett, I just put the comment up. He says, "Jesus, dude, something bit that dog."
Yeah.
Just the guy says, very recently, the blood was still wet. So when they found that dog, it had just happened, not long before.
It was definitely not torn.
There was no signs of rigor. It wasn't torn, and the blood inside the wound cavity was still pooling. Main house says, was it bit or torn? It looks to me like it was bitten. I mean, it truly does look to me like it was bit. Ah, poor dog. Yeah, whatever did it bit it down to spine. You can see the spine in the meat.
Yep.
Poor dog. Yeah, I'll say about sharing this where you guys can take. Main house is huge bite radius. Yes, it was. It was a full grown looked like beagle, and the bite radius was basically from the bottom of the rib cage to the lip.
See what Brett put? 100%. That's the first thing I noticed. Said the organs are missing.
Mm-hmm. Brett, if you want to pop on, let me know and I'll send you the link. There was another image that somebody sent me earlier. I was going to get it ready for the show and kind of forgot all about it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me see if I downloaded it.
Harold, we don't know anything about the one who sent it to me is trying to find out all the particulars, but we don't know if anybody saw anything or not. We just literally saw the video 2 seconds before we started talking to you about it. We don't know anything about it yet.
Okay, this image I'm going to attempt to upload. I'm going to attempt to grab and pull up to show you guys. This is, well, it's not as graphic, but it's certainly surprising. Let me make sure it downloaded like it was supposed to. Why the hell did that not download?
Let's see what Rodney said.
Give me a second. I think I can get it another way. Hold on. And
said,
Robbie, I know I haven't shown you this picture because I literally just got it right before the show.
Rodney said that 3 dogs returned, and this one was found over a small hill. All four dogs were chasing something, so that's why they were out looking for. Because all 4 of them were chasing, 3 of them returned, 1 of them didn't. It's got one of the big orange GPS collars on it, so they were out trying to find it.
All right, I'm going to download this image real quick. I've got it in an alternative method. Now, I cannot tell you where this image came from. The guy that sent it to me didn't know the origin, but I'm going to get Robbie's opinion on this because I think I can at least narrow it down based on this image here.
Good night, Miss Lene.
Good night, Miss Lene. You take it easy. God dang it, what happened? Okay, let me bring this image up and we'll talk about this one. Robbie, I'm pretty sure this is going to remind you of some images that you and I took. Okay. Right off the bat, Robbie, can you see it?
Hang on, mine's a little bit slow.
Did it come up for you?
Not yet. But I don't think it's come up on the feed yet either, because I don't see it on my phone.
It did pop up. It did pop up on the screen here. I'll try sharing it again. Okay.
Yes, somebody sent me that.
Okay, well.
Or no, nobody didn't send it to me. I saw it on another group.
Yeah, but this was sent to me by somebody. Let's discuss that. Well, number one, we get the wounds here. and a bite mark in the neck, which again, cougars do take deer up trees, but that is a good sized buck. But what's throwing me is right here.
The leg.
Yeah, cougars don't do that. And
That
judging by the
group,
bark and the branches, I think that's a live oak. So that would limit it to the southern half of the United States.
I put a copy of one of the pictures we took in that same group that was in.
Mm-hmm.
Got a bunch of interesting comparisons on it.
And it's missing its eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that when you look at the other side as well. It looks like both eyes are gone. And that's just like what we found down at Blunk Road.
Yep.
And maybe, although it's hard to tell because we can't really zoom in, it looks like maybe the tongue and the soft palate may be missing. But look at how that leg is snapped and twisted.
Yep.
What does that remind you of?
Oh, that's why I put that picture in that group to show that. It was like, look at this. I mean, other than the fact that there's a lot more of that one than there was one.
Yeah, Artemis says the back looks. That's not a doe. It's got horns.
Yep.
Pureblood says birds are going to peck out those eyes out. Possible. Yeah, it's entirely possible. But the ones we found that had their eyes removed, had both eyes removed, and the one side of the head was down on the ground. So it hadn't been a good sized bird, would have been flipping that head over. But what was I going to say? Martimus said the back looks broken. Let's flip over to that. He's right. It does look broken. That's definitely not a cougar. Cougar ain't snapping a spine.
No.
One other thing we don't know from this is how high off the ground it is. But yeah, I would agree. It looks like the back is broken, and at least one of the legs is like grabbed and twisted. You can't really see a lot of detail on the back legs. But that looks like blood matted fur right there. Come to think of it, now that I'm looking at it, I don't see the back legs. Do you?
No, I don't see them. Because there's one of the front legs right.
There's one here and one here.
One right there.
But the other legs,
I don't see any.
I mean, if you look at the bottom one, their legs would be facing the other side, but the legs are gone. And that's a little, looks like 6-pointer. Maybe a 4. Okay, the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a 4-pointer.
Look at the other picture. You can see his rack better from the other picture. I think he's.
Okay. I think he's a little. Well, there we go. Yeah, he's spike.
That's why he ain't a spike. He's at least an 8-pointer.
Yeah, he's a good sized buck. There's one there, one there, one there. There's 4. Yeah, he's at least an 8-pointer. And on this side, it looks like one of the points might have been broken off.
Yeah, there's a time broken right there.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's probably an 8-point buck. And depending on what part of the country, he probably pushing 200 pounds. I know northern Missouri, the deer get a lot bigger than they do down here. But an 8-point down here, it'd still probably be 130, 140 pounds at least. Kevin Bode says, I wonder if the antler got broken off prior to the attack. Could be. Hard to say. There's really no way of knowing, but you can still clearly see where that just abruptly ends. So there was definitely one of the tines was broken off. And, okay, I will cop to, let's just say the birds took the eyes. Okay. That still doesn't explain how carcasses laying on their side were missing both eyes down in Combs, not Combs Ferry, Blunk Road, and that other one had the top of its skull removed with the brains gone. And I would say for brain tanning, my first instinct was they took the brains for brain tanning, but the hide had been basically grabbed and ripped off and was laying just a few feet away. And I don't know of anybody that eats deer brains. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying I don't know anybody that does. Just a guy says, didn't also happen on your Joe Bald. We found disarticulated deer in Joe Bald, Combs Ferry, Blunk Road, and then you and Marianne found one down on the Niangua farther down. We found at least me, Robbie, Noah, just the three of us, plus Wyatt was there for a couple of them because we found it 2 different times on Combs Ferry, one during the day, one at night. So we've released at least 6 disarticulated deers, not cut up like the legs just snapped and twisted off. And I would like to say poacher, but I've showed the images to buddies of mine, one who is Navajo. I've shown these images to guys I know that deer hunt, and they're like, "That's not how I would cut up a deer. That is not right. That would take way more effort than you really need to make. How are these bones snapped and then twisted off? Because it'd just be quicker just to use an axe or a good broad-bladed knife and just disarticulate the joint, cut the sinew, take the leg right off. There's a little more work to it than that, but if you had a good sharp knife, you could take it off pretty easy. But these had all been snapped at the joint, and then like it had been grabbed and twisted. Robbie likened it to a death roll from an alligator.
Yep. Monica, that was at Combs Ferry with the Missouri tree trout.
Yeah, that was Combs Ferry.
And it was just a head, not a whole fish.
Just a guy. Combs Ferry is on Table Rock Lake, so you're right on both counts. Combs Ferry is a peninsula that sticks out into Table Rock Lake. Lone Queen says the deer looks like it was in a wreck, either a big vehicle or Bigfoot. If them bashing things to death is correct, it looks like it does look like its back is snapped.
Yep, I don't know too many big vehicles that put deer up in a tree though.
Yeah, unless it hit it really hard. But then at the same time, where's its back legs? I can see a cougar feeding on it up in the tree, but I don't, unless those back legs were laying beneath the tree, it's not going to carry the bones off. I mean, cougars don't tend to eat the bones; they eat the meat, and those aren't the hind legs are not the parts it would go after first. Roxanne says if it was a cougar, could it have dropped the deer on the way up the tree, and could have broke its back? It would have to drop it from pretty high. The spine on a deer is pretty hard to break. I've seen deer get hit by semis and get up and run off. Now, granted, the semi wasn't going highway speed. I've seen semis doing 20, 30 miles an hour, knock one flying, it get up and take off. I've seen guys in cars hit them just hauling ass, spin the deer completely around it, get up and run off. So it takes a lot to to just fully snap the spine. So if that thing's back is broken, it took a lot of force. C. Blanton says his neck is eaten out as well. Yeah, you could definitely see a chunk of flesh missing from the throat, and looked like the back legs and most of the back end was gone, and then the spine's broken. So Harold Goodell says reached out from a blind and grabbed the leg. My guess is the first point of contact was that leg. And we've heard Native American stories and hunter stories of them basically hiding in a blind, which would have been perfect for that blind we found down in Joe Bald, setting in a blind and reaching out and grabbing a leg, just twisting it to break it so it can't run. Brett says, I wonder what part of the country it was taken in, because it would have taken the cougar out of the equation. I'm not 100% certain on those trees, but I think that's a live oak, looking at the bark. So my guess is somewhere in the south of the southwest. Um, we didn't. Again, it didn't come with any provenance. It was just sent to me by somebody. I just thought it was worthy of sharing with you guys because it's pretty interesting to look at, and the damage is pretty impressive. Mr. Anderson says, I don't know if it's true, but they say it grabs the back leg and the head and folds it up, and that's all she wrote. Yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard about them supposedly, like dropping out of trees and grabbing the head and twisting it. My guess is they've got multiple hunting strategies because over time your deer are going to get wary of how you hunt. I mean, just like any deer hunter, you've got to move your deer stand because once they figure out somebody's killing them from this one area, they'll stop coming.
Yep.
Kevin says there are many explanations if we want to reach way out of common sense and reality. There are a lot of possible explanations if you want to, really, like Kevin's saying, really want to step out there. But judging by the damage and where it's at, how far up that tree, and the size of that being at about 8-point buck, it was something very strong. I don't know if a cougar's got the strength to drag that far up a tree. I don't know. Anybody know how much a cougar is capable of dragging up a tree? I will consult with the Googles, but I don't know if it's going to actually have an answer. So let me see. Okay. Okay, this might change things a little bit. This says mountain lions can drag prey up to 4 times their own body weight up into trees or into caves to hide it. So, in theory, mountain lion would have been strong enough to get it up there. The question is, what did it? Because that's not typical mountain lion kills. Mountain lions will grab the neck and choke it to death, and eat the soft parts first. I wouldn't imagine it would go for the legs first. It would have gone for those organs. Primary reason for moving kills up into trees is to keep them from other predators like black bears who may steal their food. So, not outside the realm of possibility that could have been a mountain lion. What we're just saying is it's very bizarre considering the type of damage done to it, especially the front leg and the missing back legs. That's just very atypical. Artemis says bears bury their prey, big cats can drag their food in trees. Ostensibly, this was somewhere here in the United States because that's a white-tailed deer. Monica says cougars aren't going to twist the legs either. Exactly. My point exactly. So they say, C. Blanton says, what the average weight of a cougar? Well, I will consult the Googles as well.
Probably about 150-ish, 180, somewhere in there for a big one.
What is the average weight of a mountain lion? Male between 120 and 160 pounds, and a female from 75 to 110. That's still a big cat.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Vickery says the leaves that are off the tree must be in the north. Maybe because we don't know when it was taken. I don't know how old that. I've got no provenance on that photo whatsoever. Someone who spotted it on a Bigfoot site sent it to me and said, "What do you think of this?" Because they'd seen our Combsary and Blunk Road images and said this looks a lot like the ones you were showing. Yeah, the disarticulated leg is the big kind of red flag on this. The fact that it's in a tree is clearly could have been a mountain lion. It's the damage, the broken spine, the missing legs, the one leg looks like it's been death rolled by an alligator. That's the interesting part. That's what makes us think it might not be a mountain lion.
Northwoods.
Northwoods cracks me up. Don says here in Texas we have a lot of missing tree leaves. Again, I don't know when this image was taken, but considering that all we see is the tree and the sky and the deer, um, we really don't have enough to go on other than the bark and the leaves to try and guess what that tree is. And it looks like oak bark, but the smaller leaves make me think live oak. And live oaks range pretty much all across the South from North Carolina to Texas. But it is very hard to tell. Artemis says, I've never found a deer in a tree, but I've definitely found 4 of them with their backs broken in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. That's interesting. Arkansas Hog Hunter says, I've got some pics. I'd like to hear y'all's guess as to what this cat weighs. Yeah, shoot them to my email, and me and Robbie would be happy to take a look at them. I'll post my email real quick so you can shoot them to me. Had someone earlier today sent me what he thought was Bigfoot pictures on a trail cam, and I looking at them, and they were taken at different times. You could see the timestamps on them, and he's like, look on the right side of the image. So I was looking at it, and I zoomed in, and I think that one might just be pareidolia, and I sent him this because I think it's a tree stump, to be honest, because even though the timestamp and the time of day is clearly different in the images, it never moved. It was in the same spot every time. So I think those ones that got sent to me, I think they were probably just a broken stump. But by all means, if you guys have got images, I would love to see them. Send them to me. Send them to Robbie. We're happy to share them on the show and give your opinion of them. But just because some images are pareidolia doesn't mean all of them are. I mean, people, you might have caught the smoking gun on camera and just not know it. I've still got an image I've been waiting to get examined. I just can't find anybody to examine it because I am not good at testing images. You want me to bring the image up?
Why not?
I've showed it to you before, and I think I've showed it on the show before. But I took this from the porch, the front balcony of the cabin we were staying in with me and my wife, where we found that ginormous track that I've showed on the show a lot of times. But I found this when I was just looking through images because I took probably 1,000 images while we were up in the Smokies. I just focus in on something, snap pictures. I got birds, and because I'd just gotten that DSLR, so I was shooting images of everything. But I took this image, and I think I was looking at this bush, trying to focus in on these little seed pods, whatever they are on this bush. But when I started looking at it, I'm like, hold the phone. This looks almost like a gorilla looking back at you from inside the trees. You can see eye ridge, what looks like part of the nose. What do you think, Robbie?
Well, you know what I think. I've said the same thing. I said it looks exactly like that.
And here's another image. I was in a slightly different spot. You can actually see the top of its head over that broken branch. I can see the eye ridge, snout. I had a feeling like I was being watched when we were up there in those mountains. And these are 3 different images taken from 3 slightly different angles. and it's in all three of them. Toshi says looks like a gorilla. That's what I thought. Looks like a gorilla looking back at you. But I didn't focus on that because I didn't see it at the time. I was focused on the foliage. Just playing with the camera because I just got it.
Yes, just a guy. That's one and the same. He said, "Isn't this where you swore that you or you didn't swear?"
She
just
made
you
me
can't
promise
do it.
to never do it. I'm forbidden from popping my tongue while she's with me now. But that was literally just right outside the cabin. And we were in the butt crack of nowhere. We were up in the mountains. And we deliberately picked a cabin for the serenity and the quiet because it was a riding retreat for me. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that looks like the face of a gorilla back there? Or something that looks a lot like a gorilla?
The face only a mother could love.
Damn right. What do you guys think? Roxanne says, see if Thinker Thunker will do it. I might send him to him or MK. Or maybe both. I'll reach out to MK. I know MK. I don't know Thinker Thunker. Just a guy and Toshi. Just a guy says, honestly, it looks surprisingly like a gorilla. And I'm not saying this isn't pareidolia. It could 100% be pareidolia. Because I did not see anything like this with my naked eye. This was like 20, 30 yards off the balcony. So I was just up there with my lens and just like focusing in on stuff, practicing with the camera to take shots with this thing. And Brett says, did you see that Bigfoot image that came out of Texas recently? Maybe not. Okay, I'm not going to try to offer this image as any kind of definitive proof. It may be nothing more than a pareidolia red circle photo. It very much looks like a face looking back from behind those bushes. Yeah, I will not be the guy that says this is definitive proof, and if you can't see it, you're an idiot. That's not me. I mean, I'm not going to do that unless I know for a fact what I saw and photographed. I'm not going to make that kind of statement because I didn't see this in the image until months later. I just happened to be going through all the images I snapped up in the mountains and was like looking for ones that would be good wallpapers for my computer. And I was also looking for a couple of really cool ones to have put on printed on canvas to give to Annette. When the first time we went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I leaned way out from our balcony. And it was just at sunrise, and I snapped a picture with my phone of the sun coming up over the ocean, and I leaned way out so you wouldn't get the building in it. And all you've got is just this beautiful beach view and the sun coming up over the Atlantic. And I had that put on screened onto canvas, stretched canvas, and it hangs in our living room. But yeah, I can't say with any degree of certainty that this is not pareidolia, but I would like to get like MK's input on it. I may reach out to him tomorrow and see what he says. Just a guy who says, "Hey DA, just reverse search that image, and Google's telling me it sees an owl." That's cool. I certainly don't see an owl. Huh.
Maybe a 1,000-pound owl.
Yeah, I'd forgotten you could do a reverse Google search.
How can you do a reverse Google search on a picture that you took that's not on the online?
Yeah, interesting question. Now I will reach out to MK. Well, Google did identify the plants in it. Elder, I guess those are elderberries, Virginia creeper, and five-fingered plant. I just asked Google AI, what animal is in this picture? Google AI says, there's no animal visible in the provided image. The picture shows various plants and broken wooden structure in the background. Deeper dive with AI mode. Let's see what it says. Google AI can't find it. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, it doesn't. But we're almost at the top of the hour, just in case you.
Holy moly, we are cruising right along. I want to see if I can. I want to see if I can get a different AI to take a look at that image. Oh, I got a different response from not Chat GPT, from Copilot, the one that comes with Microsoft.
What did it say?
It says, beneath the dense foliage of your image, there appears to be a creature peeking out. Its shape is subtle, but the dark, rounded contours of the eye light glint suggest something watching quietly from the shadows. Based on the positioning and partial visibility, it could possibly be a raccoon or a small cryptid-like figure, especially given the rusted setting and overgrown vegetation. It says, if you're leaning into it believing it's a cryptid, it could easily be interpreted as a gugway.
It really said that?
That's what, dude. Let me share it with you. Let me share the image.
No, I believe you. I'm just saying, it really said that it could possibly be a gugway.
Yeah. Let me bring this rascal up, and y'all can read it. Right here. Okay, we're going to go over for a few minutes. I want to see what this comes up with. See if it can enhance the face. This is just an AI, so take it with a grain of sand. This is AI can wholly 100% be absolutely wrong, but for it to specifically say gugway really has me kind of freaking out. Sharpening the gauge beneath the leaves. This usually takes a couple of minutes. See, Blanton says that's just freaky for AI now. I'm going to leave it up here on screen so you guys can see it appear in real time. So what do you think of that now, Robbie? Because I personally didn't think gugway. I thought maybe I might have caught a Bigfoot in this image.
That's freaky as hell for it to come out and say gugway. Because
of all the names it could draw on.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that so many times, about how many times there's misidentifications of this and that, and gugway isn't something that's in the vernacular like it should be, and then all of a sudden here's this AI saying it could be a gugway. That's weird.
The enhancement might be a total disappointment, though. So sometimes it does well, sometimes it just, whiffs completely. But the fact that it said could be construed as a gugway, well, that looks like a raccoon.
Raccoon. It's Rocket.
It was Rocket Raccoon watching me from the woods.
He's like,
So again, I don't know.
I need that guy's leg. Yeah, that guy right there. Bring me his leg.
I need that guy's eye.
Leg.
Don't put that in. Do you know how I smuggled that out? I don't know. I'm because the AI coming. I don't know if I would believe that, because if you look at that and then look at the actual image itself, I'd have to bring the image back up, but the image was farther back. I don't know that I agree that it with the raccoon, but it freaks me out that it said gugway. I'm going to give it specific instructions. I'm going to ask it specifically to bring out the gugway face. See what it does. Again, this is AI, folks. We can only take this with a grain of salt. But the fact that it called it a gugway at the beginning is kind of, well, it would explain the aggressive thump on the cabin and the handprints on my car. Robbie saw those firsthand. I've got pictures of the handprints on the car.
Oh, I saw the handprints on the car. Actually, on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were still on there when we
They
met up.
stayed on there for like a week. They were super greasy. And when I washed the car, I had to wash it like 3 times before they were completely gone. But I took a crap load of pictures. And again, folks, got to take this with a grain of salt. This is just an AI. Wouldn't a gugway left some scratches on your car? Maybe. Now, only if it was trying to get in. It looked like it had just walked up and put its hand on it, like it was looking in the car. But we don't leave food in the car. We didn't leave anything in the car to attract it.
Interesting rendition.
That looks more like it. That looks more like what looked like it was looking back at me.
Well, unfortunately, I think I would have preferred to have the first picture looking back at me than that.
To quote paraphrase Antonio Banderas. Oh no, Herger the Joyous. I'd rather prefer the dragon.
I'd rather prefer a dragon. But that's not cavalry.
Northwood says, as long as it didn't treat your car the way a Wendigo treats a snowmobile.
I'd rather it treat my car that way than me that way.
Okay, it only gave me this Gugway image after I specifically asked for it, but it suggested Gugway long before I did. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it's certainly interesting.
Yeah. That was a fun little way to end the show, though. That
was kind of a fun little way to let the AI kind of end it for us. That was kind of cool. I think before Saturday, I think I'll crop that image because I downloaded it and take the image, the actual image from the camera, and put them side by side, and we'll examine it this weekend. I would do it real quick and bring it up now, but Robbie's got to get to bed. He's got to get up early for work, so I'm not going to keep Robbie waiting. Let him get some sleep. But folks, strange animal attacks are definitely on the rise. And from what we're hearing, Gugway attacks specifically and other violent cryptid attacks are definitely increasing in 2025. So, are we saying that those guys did not die of lightning? No, we are not saying that at all. We are saying that many is a really, really weird coincidence. And is it possible that lightning is now the new cover word for, instead of saying wild animal attack? Lightning might be a convenient explanation when somebody had no obvious wounds onto their body. And remember the Dyatlov Pass incident? One of them only an autopsy revealed that he had been crushed to death.
Mm-hmm.
What if they said there wasn't a mark on him and he'd been crushed to death, and that's not what they wanted to say? And now that I saw that image, the video you sent me of the dog, dude, that'll make you think twice.
Yes, sir.
Well, folks, whether you're going hunting, fishing, camping, backpacking, whatever you're doing, do it safely. Let someone know where you're going. Take a med kit. Be safe and come back home. You guys are part of the Nightmare Nation. We're part of the family, and we may be family, but we put the fun in dysfunctional. Always remember that. But thank you guys for being part of the Nightmare Nation, and we are so close to. Let's see if we bumped it up any at all tonight. I will check real fast. Oh yeah, we're down to 89 required. We get 89, we hit 10K. So yeah, we are on the way, folks. Share the channel with everyone you know that enjoys this kind of content. Encourage them to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we would sure appreciate it. Let's get that 10K. See if we can get to 10K before the Bigfoot convention in Ohio. That would be absolutely awesome.
Yep.
So, folks, don't forget to check out our the good folks that are our affiliates. Check out the good folks over at Dark Angel Medical. Send Doc some business and some love. And you know the he's packing birthdays in boxes, folks. 208 or 209 saves. 208 saves. Birthdays in boxes, y'all. You never know when that life you save very well could be your own. Keep a good kit on hand. Take something to defend yourself and come home safe. Check out the good folks over at Scallywag Tactical. If you're going to be out in the woods and you can't carry a firearm, at least you can carry a good blade. Check them out. Use discount code DARoberts10 for 10% off your discount your items, including the things that are already discounted on the Blemish blades, if they have any in the Blemish blades at the moment, which I don't think they do. Discount code for Dark Angel Medical is Cryptid20. That's 20% off. And check out the good folks over at SigwellArms.com. If you want want the Wild Hunt logo on the upper receiver of your favorite AR style pew pew, they're the folks that'll do it. Cerakoting, whisper pickles for your pew pew so it goes whisper quiet, and Freedom Seeds as well, and they're very reasonable on their ammo prices. Check them out again, SigwellArms.com. Use Bigfoot5 for your discount code, save 5% on your order, and that can add up pretty fast. Let the Codys know we sent you, and let them know you heard about them through us, and definitely check them out and support your veteran and first responder owned businesses. Don't forget to check out Robbie's new book, which is eating up the charts. He is doing so awesome. I'm so proud of this jackass. Love you, brother. But I'm very proud of Robbie. He's doing so well. And, his books are awesome, and you guys are going to love them. So check them out. Get all Robbie's books at Amazon.com. Check out his author page. Make sure you follow his author page, and you'll get an alert every time a new book is released, which with Robbie is about every 47 minutes, it seems like.
It ain't that fast. It just feels that way sometimes.
But check out all of Robbie's books. And while you're at it, go take a look at mine as well. You can find all of mine on Amazon.com or at daroberts.net. And we would love to have you guys as part of the verse because we got a lot of plans and a lot of places to go. And we're excited to have you guys along for the ride. And I've said this many times, and it applies to every writer out there, not just my own. It applies to Robbie's just as much as it does mine. I'm just the one that coined the phrase. Stories are journeys that we take together. And I want to thank you guys for taking these journeys with us. So without further ado, I want to remind you all of the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that is 22 too many. Check on your friends and family that are veterans and first responders because the toll on first responders is just as high. I can tell you, first responders see some crap that nobody should see. So check on your friends and family, your loved ones that are veterans, active duty, reserves. Doesn't matter what way they served, what capacity, or first responders, whatever capacity. Doesn't matter. Check on them. Check on them. Let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know you care because 22 a day can be 0 a day if we all work together. So let's get that down to 0. Trying to think if there's anything else I needed to do. I think I still have a little bit of coffee for the toast. I think I will partake in the toast tonight since I haven't done it in a while. If you don't mind, Robbie.
Right ahead, brother.
All right. We'll close her out with a toast, and this toast is from an old Irish drinking song called "The Parting Glass," and it's not just about saying goodnight to the folks at the bar. At the end of the day, it's about raising a glass for those we've lost along the way. It's a beautiful tune. If you haven't heard it, go on YouTube and search "The Parting Glass" and listen to this beautiful song. But the quote says, it's from the chorus. It says, "But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Slán Java, and we will see you guys on Saturday night. Good night, everyone."
Plains, the winds are howling, saloon doors swinging, shadows growling. 3 lawmen stand tough as rawhide. Yeah, Doc and DA, nothing can abide. Whiskey shots and poker faces, staring down the darkest spaces in this town where legends roam. These boys bring justice, sending evil home. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Jed's a howler, claws of steel, Doc's a biter, makes the devil real. But DA's a shifty one, a shape-shifting soul, can turn to anything, takes any form, takes control. Tonight the chupacabras come to town, sucking the life from all around. But these lawmen, they ain't afraid, they'll face the darkness unafraid. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. wings flap, the air grows cold, a chill and trap. But these lawmen, they're ready to fight underneath the pale moonlight. Jet and Doc transform with a howl. DA shifts, becomes a night owl. Together they stand, a force so strong against the evil right in the road. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the enemy.